Hello, everyone. Um, it's your boy. I have to leave for work in like legitimately 39 minutes. I mean, I got a little bit of leeway because I normally get there early anyway. But point is, there's gonna be a quick one. There's gonna be a quick one. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it easy. We're gonna keep it concise. I don't want to edit this. I want to just upload it and then leave the fucking house. um, Basically, if you read the title, you kind of you gotten all the introduction that you need. Um, yeah, I think people really have ruined the cultural reputation of Deftones, and as a result, it's had a trickle down effect into fucking with the reputations of Deftones fans. Now, I'm not a big reputation guy. I'm not the kind of guy that's sitting there going, "I'll go to reputation to uphold. I'll go to look good for the bit." Blah 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 blah. Like, I'm not that concerned with it. I don't do immoral shit in my free time. I don't have much to hide. So I'm not really out here worried about what people think about me too much because I don't do that much dumb shit that I would really want to hide. Um, but it's really frustrating to me that Deftones kind of has been getting more and more and more of not a bad rap because they're still a very highly praised band, but it's more so just their cultural reputation. Deftones for many years now has been my favorite band just of all time. And that might change in the future. When I was a kid, I said Black Sabbath was my favorite band because I loved Paranoid. I thought that was a great album. There was Master of Reality, and those two albums I liked a lot. And then when I was in high school, I really, really loved Slipknot. And I said Slipknot was my favorite band. And I'm not as fond of them now as I used to be. I used to really, really, I was all about Slipknot back in the day. But now I'm like, I only really listen to their first three albums now. And everything past that, I'm like, don't know. Don't know. It kind of fell off, in my opinion. And now the mantle of top band has fallen to Deftones because to me, all of their albums have aged really well. Every single one. I love them all. Like I couldn't. There's probably like a handful, like literally like probably five or less songs of theirs that I actually don't like. And even then, they're like joke songs. It's shit like Pink Cell Phone. Like I don't know many people who are saying, "Yeah, man, I listen to Pink Cell Phone all the fucking time." So yeah, Deftones is my absolute favorite band. They've had a massive impact on me and inspiring me to make music and sort of my outlook on the world. And I'm not saying like, oh yeah, my outlook on the world. I think I'm Chino Marino and I wear baggy. I mean, I do wear baggy pants, but it's like, I'm not saying that Deftones like changed my fucking. They made me cool, but it's like, some of their songs, especially their later stuff, where they kind of went into that more romantic, mellow direction. I think it had a good impact on me personally. And it's so frustrating because I have such a deep connection with the music that they released. I was gonna say deep connection with the band, but I don't. I don't know a single member personally. Um, but I remember, I listened to Adrenaline and Around the Fur all the fucking time in high school. Like especially Adrenaline, I personally like resonated with that album so much because I was a fucking asshole as a teenager. I was just this like ratty, attitudinal. Is attitudinal a word? I was just this ratty little dick, right? With the worst attitude of all time. And I'd get off school and I'd like immediately I'd like go see my girlfriend or some shit and I'd just be like, yeah, fuck school, man, it sucks. And then she'd be like, yeah, I know, school sucks, hey. And I'd be like, yeah, man. Like I had like this fucking beanie. I think you can see it that I was wearing that beanie all the fucking time. My pants were just massive. I was walking around and shit. Like if you seen the music video to Bored, that video like changed my perception of fashion, of my own self-conception. I was like, damn, I know what I need to do now. I know how I need to dress. Like that music video altered my fucking brain chemistry. And I was walking around with that fucking attitude all the time. Yeah, and to this day, I listen to Adrenaline and like it takes me back. I'm like, damn, I remember being like 17, and walking around thinking I was hot shit, good times. And pretty much all of their albums I can sort of tie back to a certain time in my life, where I can, tie back to a certain memory. And it's really upsetting that I have such fond memories associated with this band. And now everyone on social media completely misses the point, and they whittle them down to, oh, they're the sex band. They're the moaning sex metal band. They're the band. They're like, oh, I hate it so much. I've seen it so many times. People saying they're Radiohead for people who have sex. Shut up. Shut up. Like, you can tell that the people making these kinds of comments just don't think. They don't think. They hear a sentence from someone else and they think it sounds smart on a surface level. So they repeat it, and then they repeat it, and then they repeat it. And it's just this endless regurgitation of surface level nonsense that people who are too dumb to actually think about it, they think it sounds smart, and they don't want to be smart. They just want to sound smart. So they just regurgitate this dumb shit, and they go, it's Radiohead for people who have sex. And it's all an ego thing. It's people who listen to Deftones and they're like, yeah, I totally want the reputation of someone who's having heaps of sex, and I'm cool, and I've got sex appeal. It's like, you're missing the point. Like, they're honing in on like the first three albums, where there were more. I mean, there are still heaps of sex-related songs on the later albums, but the first three had this aggressive angle where it kind of was like, these are 20-something-year-old dudes. All they care about is sex, money, and weed, But with their later albums, the more sexual songs, they've got more of a romantic tone. They've got more of a, like, wow, I love this girl. I love my wife, and I wanna spend this really good quality time with her, and I wanna, put her to bed, and we'll share our passions with each other, like Diamond Eyes. I have almost their whole discography. This fucking album is some of the most romantic. This and Koino Yokan. This and that album are the most romantic shit I've ever heard in my life. Like, that's the shit you put on when it's like anniversary night with your missus, if you're both into Deftones. And people are just, again, there's so much to Deftones, more than just the sex-related songs. But their whole reputation now is just sex. They're the sex metal band. And it's, Chino Marino moans in the microphone all the time. He doesn't moan that often. It depends on what your definition of a moan is, to be honest. But even then, even if you're kind of taking liberty with what a moan is, it's still not even really that often. And I don't know. I'm super passionate about this because, again, I adore this music. I listen to them all the fucking time. I've listened to them for years, right? They've been fundamental to my development, to the way I dress, to the way I perceive the world, to the other music that I've then, found out about and listened to, who were influenced by Deftones or who influenced Deftones. There's this band Hum. They've been popping off recently because everyone's been listening to their old stuff and thinking, God, why didn't these guys get all the praise back in the day? And Hum, their album, You'd Rather an Astronaut, I think, or You'd Prefer an Astronaut, influenced them to make or not that entirely influenced them, but it served as inspiration to Chino Marino and Steph Carpenter in the way that they produced White Pony. They made the cover art a reference to You'd Prefer an Astronaut. So they've helped me discover all this really cool music. I've gone off on a tangent. It's frustrating to me because I've had this, I really, really fuck with this band a lot. And now it's just been entirely corrupted and almost pretty much perverted. I hate to sound like some turbo Catholic, but it's just these brainless Instagram, TikTok morons who are sitting there and they're going, oh my God, big titty goth girl, and I want a goth girl to step on me and listen to Deftones, and we can cut ourselves and listen to Deftones, and blah 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 blah. It's like, no, like it's so. This is why people gatekeep. This is literally the whole reason as to why people are assholes when it comes to music, when it comes to their favorite artists, because as soon as the circle of influence grows, as soon as it starts appealing to the lowest common denominator, it gets taken over by fucking morons who don't understand it, who have no appreciation for the actual artistic merit, and you end up with dumb shit like goth girl mummy stepping on me and fucking Radiohead for people who have sex, and you end up with the dumbest shit imaginable. And then people like myself who have earnest connections with the music, people who just love the music for the music and the artistry of it, who then have to sit there and listen to people say dumb shit like that, or even worse, get lumped in with those people. So I tell people like, yeah, my favorite band's Deftones, and they're like, okay. And like they think I'm one of those freaks, some fucking poser who got into them like 2 years ago, who was like, yeah, I just want to get stepped on by a woman in black makeup and black eyeliner. It's like, no, no, I listen to it because I like the heaviness. I like the romantic aspect. I especially like their aggressive early years, right? I love Adrenaline. I love Around the Fur. I love White Pony. I love self-titled and Around the Fur are two of my favorite albums just ever. I resonate so heavily with so much of what they said over the years. Not all of it, but a lot of it strikes a really deep chord with me emotionally and mentally. And I have to do this whole like 10-minute explaining routine to people when I tell them my favorite band's Deftones, because otherwise they're going to think that I'm some idiot who's like, yeah, I bought these Jinko jeans on Depop. Am I Deftones boyfriend, or are you Weezer girlfriend? Which one am I? It's like, be quiet. Like seriously, I can't stand it with the boring, mindless categorization that people do on Instagram and TikTok and the internet in general, of where they can't handle complexity. They simplify it into these dumbass character traits and archetypes. And because they don't want to think about the world, they don't want to accept that human beings and music and art is complex and that it can affect and reach a wide array of people. They just summarize it into like three different archetypes of people who like this band, and that's their whole perception of it. And it's really fucking frustrating. Um, yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Because if I keep talking, I'm gonna go for the whole hour, and I'm gonna be late for work. And I'm employed. I can't afford to. I gotta be making this money. I've been spending too much on fucking Depop and CDs and fucking beers with my mates and all that shit. I gotta start recouping the cost. Because I'm not broke, but it's getting into dangerous territory. So I hope you enjoyed my rant. Let me know your feelings on Deftones or just this whole phenomenon in general. Are there any other bands that you can think of that have had their reputation or that have annoying fans now? Because it really sucks as a massive fan of Deftones that I now either get lumped in with or have to deal with fucking morons who just don't understand it, you know? Yeah, let me know what you think. And stay safe.